My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of 1408. And this will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, then come back and watch my review because I will be going in depth. Now, I'm going to go on a little rant here because I could not find this movie anywhere. It seems to be out of print unofficially, but I was looking, couldn't find it. I then found a copy on eBay, brand new, for like 30 bucks. I tried to bid 15 bucks, guy wouldn't budge. Tried 20 bucks, guy wouldn't budge. Tried 25 bucks, guy wouldn't budge. So I eventually caved and paid 30 bucks for a brand new Blu-ray of 1408. Got in the mail, sat in my drawer for about a month before I watched it. Watched it the other day. For the first half, it was working just fine. The second half though, the disc started to malfunction and it was skipping, and then it skipped like 30 minutes to the very end of the movie. And I'm just like, crap, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm just like, well, maybe it's just my DVD player. So I put it in my PS4, still didn't work. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? I tried again, tried cleaning it, still didn't work. So I'm just like, man, that sucks. Like, that was 30 bucks for a brand new Blu-ray of a movie that's very hard to find. So I'm just like, well, I'm going to review it, so I want to finish it now. So I looked on Netflix, looked on Crave, looked on Amazon Prime, looked on Disney Plus, looked on Tubi, looked everywhere, couldn't find out any streaming service. So I'm just like, you kidding me? I guess I have to rent it. So I went to Apple and I saw that it was $6 to rent or $5 to buy. So I'm just like, well, I might as well buy it. So I bought it, I finished the movie, and then I went to bed afterwards. And as I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep, I just thought of something. So I take out my phone, I go to YouTube, and I type in 1408 full movie, and there's like 5 search results that have the entire movie of it on YouTube. So I spent $5 for nothing. Like, that used to be the way to watch movies on the internet, and now it just seems like an afterthought. And just the fact that I paid for a digital copy for $5 when I didn't need to, just really annoyed me. But this is a movie that I haven't seen in a long time. The first time I remember I didn't really like this movie, but watching this time, for the first half, it was much better than I remember it being. Now, John Cusack is a good actor and he's consistently good throughout this entire movie, but Samuel L. Jackson is the one who steals this entire movie. In just one scene, he is the standout. In one scene, he did absolutely everything that he needed to do, and he did an exceptional job at it. And I like the build-up in the first act of this movie. I think it's very expertly handled, and the way that they build dread and fear around this haunted hotel room is just so well done. You see some horrific images, you hear some horrific stories. And then there's this one story that Samuel L. Jackson tells about one day when they were cleaning the room, and one of the maids gets locked in the bathroom for 10 minutes, and when they finally get in and find her, she's completely blind. Not dead, blind. There's just something more terrifying of them finding her blind than dead. Like, it just really gets under my skin. So the build-up to this room is just perfection. You feel the weight of everything that could possibly happen in this room. So the first act is just exceptional. It is the best part of this movie. When he finally gets into the room, the build-up is still effective. It's very well paced. You're just waiting for something to happen. You're looking around the room, seeing if you can find anything. And the usage of the song "We've Only Just Begun" by the Carpenters is just fantastic. At first, it just feels like a small annoyance, but then it just becomes this song that brings so much dread to the atmosphere of the movie. And I love it when the clock actually starts ticking down. You just feel like there's some urgency that's happening. And when John Cusack gets injured, I thought that was an effective moment. And as much as I liked everything that I've been saying about this movie, it falls off the rails completely after that point. I just start to check out and it becomes very one note and just meanders. I don't like it in movies when there's some kind of haunted room or haunted ghost and there's just no rules on what they can and can't do. It just feels like they're making everything up on the spot. If you take a movie like Insidious, they establish the rules really well. This kid is in a coma and the ghosts and demons are haunting him, not the house. So until his spiritual body gets back to his physical body, these hauntings are going to continue. Okay, so you understand what needs to be done, how to stop everything. It allows you to get invested into the movie much more. But here, it's just far too much. Less is more, and that certainly would be the case here. Like, it's just hard to care when anything can happen. Everything feels contrived. The more the room does, the more I check out. Whether it's the room turning into a refrigerator where it's freezing cold, or if the room is flooding, just none of it is grounded in reality. There's this one moment where he's trying to escape the room, so he goes outside, and it could have been a very intense scene, but then the camera pans out and you see that the windows to the other rooms are gone. And it's just stupid. Like, it's meant to be this really spooky moment, but you're just like, well, if there's no chance that he can escape the room, then how can I get invested in the plot? Not saying this would have been the perfect way to go about it, but at least that scene would be more effective if he gets into the other window, crawls into the window, and it's the exact same room. Not saying it fixes the problem, but at least it doesn't look as goofy as a building without any windows all of a sudden. In the scene where he wakes up and it turns out everything is just a dream, it just doesn't work at all. The first time I watched it, when this was one of the very first horror movies I ever watched, I remember just sitting there being like, well, no, this is clearly just a dream. Like, he's still in the room, clearly. And sure enough, that's exactly the case. Like, it tries to be like, oh, look how clever we are. We got you, didn't we? You believed he was out of the room, that it was all just a dream. You believed it, didn't you? And no, I didn't. Like, I really did not. And the way that we find out about this main character's past, I just feel is very amateurish. Like something that I could easily come up with. Like, this guy goes into a haunted room and starts seeing all these different flashbacks of things he's done in the past and how it's his past that's haunting him in some ways. It's just very amateurish, a very cheap and easy way to reveal information. And the story that's getting told is just very generic and cliche and lacks any bit of impact. It just feels like the first draft of a script. And the ending for this movie doesn't work for me at all. Now, there's 3 different endings to this movie. I got the one where he sets the room on fire, he escapes, he survives, and he's living with his wife, and he listens to the tape recorder and hears his daughter's voice. Now, it's meant to be, so everything he experienced in that room was real. But what exactly does that mean? Like, his daughter is still dead, so the ghost daughter was real? Like, what exactly is it trying to do? You know, like, okay, hot take. I do like the last shot of The Shining. I just think it's a very unique, effective shot. But if you start thinking about it, it doesn't really, make any bit of sense. Wait, like, so he's a time traveler now? Like, what is he doing in that picture? Has his ghost just haunted these halls forever? Like, what's the deal with him being in that picture? And that's the same thing here. Oh, it's his daughter on the voice recorder. And at first you're like, oh, that's creepy, but then you stop and think about it and it just kind of starts to fall apart. I'm actually going to compare 1408 to another movie called Oculus, and Oculus is a very underrated, good horror movie. Like, it's one I quite heavily enjoy. And I think Oculus does everything this movie is trying to do, but better. The way they reveal the character's backstory and what happened in their past and how it still haunts them to this day, and how that ties in with the main plot. The whole angle of what's real and what's not. The type of ending where you're just left completely shunned at what you just experienced. I feel like Oculus just did everything this movie was trying to do, but better. I know comparisons aren't always fair, but when you got 2 very similar movies, one did lots of things wrong and one did lots of things right, comparisons are just inevitable. I think the first act, maybe the first half of this movie, is actually really solid. Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic in just one scene. The build-up is just expertly handled. But as soon as the movie gets going, it loses me. It just does too much with any bit of consistency or rules, and I just check out of the movie. It's not the worst movie ever made, but it's a big disappointment. And when the first half of the movie is bad, but the second half of the movie is great, then I'm a lot nicer on the movie because you want to end strong. But when you've got my interest in the beginning and you lose it, then I'm a lot more negative on the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and give 1408 a 4 out of 10. Okay, have you seen 1408? What did you think about it? Did you order this movie off of eBay and have the disc not work and then you eventually had to find a way to watch it and you ended up spending $5 that you didn't need to spend? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.